Good
morning, dear professors, dear chairman, and members of the State Attestation Commission, as well as postgraduate students. Let me start today's master's dissertation defense. It was assigned according to the order Political Science, wypisaniu Anazarna Arziva, Associate Professor of Department of Language and Literature of Nuclear Commission, Doctor of Philosophy on Mathematical of State University. The members of the Attestation Commission, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor Javad Anumbayevich, Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages of Karkalpak State University, Doctor of Philosophy on Philological Sciences, Gauhar Batirovna Zholdasova, Head of Department of English, Associate Professor of Distance Learning, Department of Nuku State Pedagogical Institute, Utimratva Guza Urgenchbayevna, Assistant Coordinator of Organization of Doctors Without Borders, Doctor of Philosophy on Fuza Muratbayevna Zhmambetova, Assistant of English Linguistics, Department of Karkalpak State University. And now it's time to undergraduate students. And the first one is Gindikarayeva Zulfiya Adilkhanovna. With scientific work, Inglis tildazonim phraseology particularly semantic susyatlari. Scientific advisor Shahryar Safarov, Doctor of Sciences, Samarkand State Foreign Language State Institute.
As going
I am Gindikarayeva, and I'm going to present my thesis titled Semantic Peculiarities of Zoning Phrasal Units in English Language. Well, it is known that language is a tool for communication, and in the English language, phraseological units play significant role in communication and frequently used by native speakers. However, for learners and the users, it can be difficult because phraseological units we cannot translate word by word, especially moreover, phraseological units with components of zonings often reflect the culture of a particular nation and country. So it's important to use accurately zoning phraseological units for effective communication and cross-cultural communication. Moreover, despite numerous research works in this area, semantic peculiarities has not been researched in depth. So the object of my research work is phraseological units with components of zoonyms taken from English, Uzbek, and the Karkalpak dictionaries and the reference books. The subject of the research is to study the semantic functional features of the phraseological units and peculiarities of zoonyms, the lexicon in them. The aim of the research to study semantic and functional features of phraseological units and interpret zoning phraseological units with the point of view of semantic and structural aspects. In order to achieve this goal, we've set following objectives. First, we'll consider starting phraseology in the linguistics, then determine main characteristics of phraseology, found phraseological units with components of zonings, and analyze their semantic features with part of their culture, with the relationship of the culture, the set and fixed expressions, and we cannot change them while we use them in the speech. The formal characteristic of phraseological units is their stability. Phraseological unit animal words has been living side by side with people and play an important role in the life masses and life activities and meanings. And it has been revealed that 39 phraseological units is fine. And seven phraseological units related to stupidness, and the least phraseological unit. In order to analyze phraseological units from English, Uzbek, and the Karabakh language, and analyze them in following aspects. First of all, we and in Uzbek, the following. Talk about the motherland, they usually say about their home. Whereas in English and the Karabakh, we say about motherland, the place where people was born. Phraseological units about family. For example, in English, the black crow sings her own birds white. In Karabakh, it can be at ayran kazan tabada or balalı koyan taş almaz. In we can see that in English and Karabakh there is a deep connection between mothers and their children, and they often use in sayings and proverbs. Whereas in Uzbek language, we can see that it's more wider in the phraseological words they use and they ona kelin ve kaynana, or it kılığının igesi bilir, can kılığının tağası bilir. Whereas in English and Kazakh, we can see distant relatives in proverbs. Phrases meaning knowledge, science, and profession. The without knowledge is a runaway horse, or in Karabakh, we can say NATO kaydan çıkardı boy olmasa, kiyiz kaydan çıkardı koy olmasa. Or in Uzbek, we can say, ilimsiz imamdan tohum bilmeyden tavuk yaxşı. From these examples, we can say that in English, Uzbek, Karabakh languages, they pay a lot of attention to the knowledge and science and prioritize the knowledge and show negative attitude to the laziness and show negative attitude to the laziness. Phraseological units about social relations. The day your horse dies and your money is gone, your relative change into strangers. From this phraseological units, we can see that English people look at their relatives a bit skeptical way and think that whereas you lost your money and all your more closer than just attitude to work. No honey, no use bees, and as they think that they're more hardworking animals, and whereas in Karabakh we can use the animals of sheep and horse. Well, in conclusion, phraseology of many languages, and this situation is certainly not accidental. Because the animal world lives side by side with people and occupies important place in their lives, horses, cats, and dogs. In Uzbek languages, birds, ducks, hens, sheep, and the donkey. Whereas in Uzbek languages, birds, ducks, hens, sheep, and the donkey. Whereas in Karabakh language, thanks for your attention. I have one question. The resources. I've used Karakalpak folklore with sayings and proverbs and the Karakalpak dictionary of phrasal verbs.
Sayings and proverbs.
Yes,
Physiological units.
yes.
What is the saying?
In four tones. Yes.
Are they the same things?
Hazır kaybedici
Or
tarihi
different?
taşınabilirsin.
Units and
Location
proverbs.
birisini aldım.
No, I thought identical. Dictionaries, there were explanations of proverbs and sayings, where in folklore I just found these sayings and proverbs of explanations. Dictionary, yes. Well, in Karakalpak language, we don't have phrasal verbs actually, and it was just so slick and explanation of. They give these proverbs and sayings, and they explain this, give them meanings.
This master's thesis are Uteshova Zernyov-Metularna, candidate of pedagogical sciences, associate professor of English language literature, Department of Karkalpak State of University, and next review Khozhanyazov. The next undergraduate student is Kazakbaeva Mavluda Farhatovna. The next undergraduate student is Ilhanova Rita Nurniazovna, who is scientific work paraphrases as a stylistic device in English, Uzbek, and Karkalpak languages. Scientific advisor, Doctor of Philosophy on Pedagogical Science, on Philological Science at Russia.
Our dissertation work's name is the perfect and writing. His aim was this balance letters Dutch, Uzbek, and Karkalpak writers. The novelty of our dissertation work is the choice of periphrases in English, Uzbek, and Karkalpak as word. These features of periphrasing haven't been taken for comparative stylistics analysis and now. Novelty is also accepted in languages. Cognitive stylistics. Cognitive stylistics is a new linguistic movement that emerged in the 90s of the last century, combines the kind of explicit, rigorous, and detailed linguistic analysis of literary texts that is typically of the stylistic traditions with a systematic and theoretical consideration of the cognitive structures and processes that underlie the production and the reception of the language. Stylistics is the way in which linguistic analysis is systematically based on theories that relate linguistic choices to cognitive structures and processes. Cognitive stylistics, as well as any cognitive science, is based on the experience reflecting the practical relations of the person to these things. It generalizes a material of empirical stylistic from point of the practical part of language, breaks down the creativity connected with work or consciousness, which is focused on sense comprehension on some ideal maintenance of culture embodied in the material scenes. Peculiarities of bellus letters text. A bellus letters text is usually complex and consists of several layers. The bellus letter style is individual in a sense. We can underline the three main influences that pressure on the individual writer's style. The first one, writer's personality, his philosophy and own way of thinking and feeling that determines his mode of expression, the occasion on which he is writing in the particular purpose, and the influence of age in which he lives. A bellus letters text is a unit of speech, and as such, it is considered to be supreme unit of education. can be information from one man to another. Thus, it becomes a constituent link in the following system of relations: objective reality, author, literary work, and reader. This chain of elements in the creative process shows that the author first grasps and comprehends the objective reality. His results are expressed in his literary work. The literary reading the book together with information, the reader receives a certain impact of the author will and intent. Under the impact of the author's willpower, the reader begins actively influencing the objective reality. Hence, the interaction of the elements in his literary work. And I want to say about the common Bellows letters problems. When the reader comes across some historical facts, geographic or proper names, quotations, allusions, and which are not familiar to him, he will miss many important points that, and there will be lacunas or blanks in his understanding of the book. Modern criticism comes to estimating literature as a form of spiritual cultural activities, the value which is contained not only in the literary text itself, but in its beneficial effect on society and interaction. Now, paraphrases and words. Problems of intersection. Paraphrases is a Greek word, peri is about or around, and phrase. It is known as circumlocution. Circumlocution is the Latin word, and circumlocution and the paraphrases is both meaning phrasing around, as in avoiding the straightforward way is a device evaluation of certain objects by words with a figurative expression. Paraphrases in context, we can identify the paraphrases from context because it is a stylistic device, it's a new genuine nomination of an object, process in which realizes the power of language to new names by object by disclosing some quality of the object. There are given some examples. I understand you are poor and wish to earn money nursing little boy, my son, who has been so prematurely deprived of what can never be replaced. Here, paraphrases phrase is what can be never replaced. In context, we can say that there is no one who can be replaced to her or his baby. It is the word mother. And the basis of paraphrases is the logical comparison of two things or events in our minds that are close to each other in some way. For example, we call chess mental gymnastics. At the same time, the features of chess are compared with one of sports, gymnastics. Gymnastics strengthens the body, and chess serves to sharpen the mind, the soul. And other such samples, a desert ship, it's a camel, black gold, it's oil, the cap and gown, student, a gentleman of the long robe, it's a lawyer. So next one. And next. Types of paraphrases. There are given some types of paraphrases, but most linguistics thinks that there are two main types, figurative and logical. Figurative subjects may be based on metaphorical characters, for example, like foolish tears or a sky of the night, it is moon, it is metaphorical, and then, for example, Mr. Dupont was dressed in the conventional disguise many years. Here, conventional disguise, it is a paraphrastic word and it means sweet. And amphilologism is a form of circumlocutory speech used to avoid telling something that might otherwise harm you. For example, she made dinner for me last night, and it would be in paraphrastic, dinner was already made for me last night. And cleodanism is the use of circumlocution to avoid saying unlucky words. For example, old Nick calling the devil old Nick, and baker's dozen is instead of 13. Equivocation is the use of circumlocution to deceive others without blatantly lying. Holy Mother of Jesus is a circumlocution of Mary. There are also other types of classification of paraphrastic phrases. For example, Galperin divides them into two, original and traditional. Original, that is genuine, invented by writers, and traditional, those are understandable without any appropriate context. In this dissertation paper, extracts of paraphrases taken from literary works, both by classical English-speaking authors and the modern ways analyzed. The first one, he would come back and marry his dream from Blackwood. Here, paraphrasing phrase is dream from Blackwood. It means girl who lives in Blackwood. The second, I took my obedient feet away from him. Here, paraphrastic phrase is took my obedient feet away. It's paraphrastic word walk. So that two men similar, it is repeated, lower colored word replaced with a higher one. She was still fat after childbirth. The destroyer of her figure sat at the head of the table. Here, a paraphrastic phrase is destroyer of her figure. It means her husband. Because of her husband, she had a baby and then she was fat. And conduct towards the fair sex to induce you to believe all this. Here, fair sex is a woman. It is a traditional paraphrase. And it is not that James is welcome or otherwise, or that he is sometimes here or not. I will wonder, so, if he might be thinking what it is all about. In context, we can understand that he doesn't like James. Because some big drops of cool liquid from the sky had started to fall. Some big drops of cool liquid, it means rain. It is a logical paraphrase. I saw a black-eyed shadow of her from herself, which was sitting on the floor and crying so loud that all people were trying to stay away from her room. Black-eyed shadow, it means a girl who is crying. And the euphemistic paraphrases is a variety of paraphrases, substitutes, and mild delicate. I want to say that euphemism means ill, it is well, and we can say is all the well or I'm speaking. Euphemism can be classified into two general types, positive and negative euphemisms. Positive euphemisms are aimed at making denoter or reference look grander and more acceptable, and negative euphemisms decrease negative or reference look grander and more acceptable, and negative euphemisms decrease negative values that are associated with negative phenomena such as war. Negative and positive euphemisms. Positive euphemisms here. Negative euphemisms is about crime. For example, pay off, a bribe of illegal reward. Family, the mafia. Come to the attention of the police to be habitual criminal. Oldest profession, prostitution. Organization, a band of criminals, working girl, it is a prostitute. And stylistic functions of paraphrases in literary text. Next. Okay. Now, I want to say some linguistic stylistic peculiarities of paraphrases in Uzbek and Karkalpak. give some samples. For example, Saf Quran Baba Kalanas is usually used denoting Great Amir Timur. And Ghazal Mulki'nin Sultanı Alisher Navai, Berdak Safar Bülbülü. Phraseological paraphrases in fictional texts. One of the main features of phraseological compounds is their stability. That is their in English, it goes without saying so much, well back in half done, better late than never. And phraseological compounds, I want to give some samples. Жалғыз қызым жұма күнін еркін біреулерге беріп қоймасам да жақсы. Біреу болмаса біреу сәлем бейбіні айнытыпты десе зорға түспеп тұрған ұшағына су құйылып бұл күнінен де айырар. Тағы кезеңде болып кетер ме? In this extract, phraseological compounds, біреудің қолын жетелеу used 2 times in context means to marry to somebody. Еркін біреулерге беріп қою it also means logical paraphrases. For example, Mr. Dupont was dressed in the conventional disguise to the here, which book brought covers the shame of American millionaires. Here, conventional disguise, it means sweet. It is a logical paraphrase.
What about euphemism paraphrase?
Negative.
If we use positive, it's a euphemism. If we use it's negative, euphemism, yes? Euphemism and euphemism paraphrases. Can you give any examples for euphemism paraphrases and euphemism paraphrases?
For example,
positive and negative euphemism.
personal assistant is it is secretary or working people. Here, rich industrial workers, not self-employed management. It is a positive euphemism.
Workerslарды сонда қандай перефрейз қылған қандай бұл өзгерді?
Rich industrial workers, not self-employed management.
Okay. Negative euphemism?
For example, family, it means mafia.
My
Mafia.
mafia? My
Family.
family mafia. It's mostly slang.
Stylistics is the way in which linguistic analysis is systematically based on theories that relates linguistic choices to cognitive structures and processes. I want to add Simpson's words. Stylistics is a method of textual interpretation in which time is place assigned to language.
Siz Karabakş'a sündürdüğü cognitive stylistics.
Cognitive stylistics adamның аңы дейміз ба, содан келіп шыққан халда неге? Мысалы, бұл жерде түсінігінен, адамның есінен, не дейміз, разговорный былай сөйлесіп жатырған уақытымызда да бір-бірінен түсініскен халда түсінетұғын стилистиканың несі.
Stilistika bize buyurulmamış. Cognitive stilistika егер де біз дүнияның образын қабыл ететін болсақ, стилистикалық средстволар дейміз. Біздің миымызде қайтадан істейміз.
Соны
дұрыс. Çok zamanlarda dünyanın tanımı, dünyanın düzgün hareket ederiz. Ruslar, misal metafralar, her stilistikatlarını tanımlıyorlar. Her stilistikatlar through our mind, through our brain, through our mental, relation of the world.
Yes.
Roma, which school traditionally? Linguistic.
Dilimizde sonra bakalım.
English. Soruları.
The reviews of this Jumratovna, candidate of philological sciences, associate professor of English review Kuzhanyazova Umida, doctor of philosophy on pedagogical sciences, English language, and whose reviewers have given recommendations to the friends. The next undergraduate student is Насреддинова Нилюфар Бахтиярхаза. With scientific work, лингвокультурологические исследования, название художественных произведений на материале английского и каракопатского science.
And the next is our task of the research is to study the main notions and problems of culturology and to consider different approaches to text analysis, mainly stylistic and linguo-cultural investigation of titles of literary works. And the next is the scientific quality of the research paper is including the modern approaches to text analysis and linguistic analysis. And the next one is the type of titles is identified through the analysis of English and Karkalpak literary text. The last one is the cognitive stylistics analysis of literary text in English and Karkalpak language is held. The next is the methods is used in our research. The first one is linguistic method, and the next one is cognitive method are used in our research, and the descriptive method aimed at the description and the systematization of linguistic data in order to determine the essential characteristics